by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. The board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Giordano. The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that that act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Roll call.
Ms. Antono?
Here.
Ms. Jodry?
Here.
Ms. Lent?
Present.
Mr. Marqueta? Mr. Slade?
Here.
Mr. Singh? Mr. Silikowski? Mr. Weber? Here. Mr. Giordano?
Here.
Quorum exists.
All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next week we'll have a moment of silence for Dolores M. Hanley, retired school teacher. So next week, who wants to read the Code of Ethics? Okay, Jay Slade will read it.
The board member will carry out his or her responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with fellow board members, ensure that they are all well run.
Thank you. Okay, now approval of minutes. Does anyone have any questions on that? Comments? Okay, hearing none. We'll have the report of the student's representative next week. We will be recognizing 4 people next week. Any questions or comments on that?
I just want to add, we'll also be recognizing SEPTA. They were recognized as a National PTA Achievement. So we'll be recognizing that as well next week.
Thank you. And next week you'll have your superintendent's report, right? Or anything you want to say today?
We will have a superintendent's report next week, but I just want to advise the board on correspondence that my office received January 31st. Going back, I think it was around 2017, Memorial School and Voorhees School were identified as targeted schools based upon student performance and or student attendance for chronic absenteeism. I'm happy to report that during that time between now and then, even after the pandemic, it is my pleasure to inform the New Jersey Department of Education, this comes from the Commissioner of Education, that the Department of Education has determined that the following schools have met the criteria to be eligible to exit targeted status effective June 30th, 2023. Multiple factors informed in this decision-making process, including student achievement and other school accountability measures in accordance with NJSA 6A33 and the New Jersey approved Every Student Succeeds Act. It names at that point Memorial School and Voorhees School. So we're very proud that both school communities, in cooperation and the hard work and dedication of their staff, their leadership, the commitment of the families and the students overall, have now exited targeted status, and they have achieved all of the necessary requirements under student achievement and school accountability regulations and measures to exit such status. So very proud of them. None of our schools are now in this targeted status.
Okay, thank you. Any progress towards goals? Correspondence? All right, special committee reports. A bunch of our committee chairs will be giving that next week. We had our curriculum meeting, and this week we're gonna have our finance meeting, so we'll have a bunch to report next week.
And next week is also the Community Engagement and Relations Committee, next Wednesday.
Perfect. Thank you. All right.
February 23rd at 7 o'clock, and it'll be held at the administration building in the conference room. It's a committee of the whole, and it's an executive session.
Can, maybe, Mr. President, can you repeat that question? Because the people at home are only getting a date, they're not getting the question. So they'll only heard what date and time.
In a Frank's mic.
Oh, yes.
I'll do
Okay.
it. So on February 23rd at 7 p.m., there will be a committee meeting of finance operations and long-range strategic planning. It will be held in the administration building. There'll be a committee of the whole to discuss budget planning and personnel, and it will be an executive session only.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other committees? Okay. I will open it up to hearing of the residents on agenda items only. Okay, seeing none, moving on. Nothing under policy. Curriculum professional development, items 1 and 2. Any questions? Okay. Finance, we'll be voting on item 1. Can I have a motion?
Slater move it.
Danton.
Lent will second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Weber? Yes. Ms. D'Antono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Okay, and items 2 through 10. Any questions or comments? Okay, moving on to athletics, items 1 and 2. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, moving on to non-certificated personnel office, items 1 and 2. Any questions or discussion? Okay. Non-certificated personnel operational, we'll be voting on item 1. Can I have a motion?
Slater second.
Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Weber? Yes. Ms. D'Antono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Item 2, any question or discussion? Okay, non-certificated personnel, other, item 1. Can I have a motion?
Danton will move.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Okay, roll call.
Ms. D'Antono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Okay, items 2 through 10. Any questions or discussion? Okay, moving on. Certificated personnel, items 1 and 2. Any, should it be a third one? Okay, just 1 and 2. Can I have a motion?
We have one additional
Okay,
correction.
Yeah.
Number 5 needs also be.
So item number 5, move the board amend and extend the following leaves of absence should be voted on tonight. So we want to make that 1, 2, and 5.
Okay, can I have a motion on items 1, 2, and 5?
Slater move.
Jodry second.
Okay, any discussion or questions? Roll call.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Ms. D'Antono?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolutions 1, 2, and 5 pass.
Any discussion or questions on the rest? Okay. Non-certificated personnel transportation, item 1. Any question or discussion? Hearing none, moving on to transportation. Items 1 through 3. Any questions or discussion? 1 through 4? All right. Hearing none, moving on. Supplies, equipment, and services. Items 1 and 2. Can I have a motion?
D'Antuno will move.
Lent will second.
Okay. Any questions or discussions?
Mr. Giordano, just on item number 2, these are the projects that we will be applying for state funding, where we would get 40% of the funding if any of these projects are awarded. We generally apply for as many as possible, and they pick and choose what is the most priority in terms of the state. So there's no guarantee that any of these projects will be selected, but we are applying for as many as we possibly can.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, roll call.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Ms. D'Antuono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mrs. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 pass.
Any questions or discussions on items 3 through 7? Okay. Moving on, miscellaneous, items 1 through 4. Can I have a motion?
Slater move.
Lent will second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Ms. D'Antuono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolutions 1, 2, 3, and 4 pass.
And any question on resolutions 5 through 10? Okay, moving on. No items under board secretary and board business. So we'll be moving on to hearing of the residents on any school district issue. Okay. Seeing none, I will close the hearing of residents. Any old business?
Yes. I was wondering if the administration could share with us the progress report of Sandberg, the construction that's going on over there.
Mr. Mayor, want to please have that up?
Okay, so since the Sandberg problem developed early in January, the district was able to obtain mobile boilers, which are positioned outside the building, outside the Sandberg Middle School, and those boilers have effectively provided heat throughout the winter, this entire period for the school effectively. We did start off with 3 boilers. We have only 2 boilers. Now we only needed 2. These are machines. Sometimes they break down, but for the most part, they've been very effective. We have continued to submit all of our expenditures to our insurance company for possible reimbursement. They have not made a decision yet on whether or not there's insurance coverage here. I think I mentioned at the last meeting, within 7 days after this incident occurred, we had plans put together to do repiping of all the gas lines into Sandberg School. We sent those plans out to at least 10 or 15 bidders. We got responses back to 2 of them. One of them you voted on tonight to do the repiping is about $200,000. That process has already begun. The plans are in the hands of the contractor, and permits are being applied for as we speak. And once we can obtain all the supplies that are needed for the piping, the project should begin the installation, and it will happen, since most of the work is, if not all of the work is outside the school. The work will happen during school hours, and it shouldn't interfere with the daily operation of the school. But the gas will never be turned on while children are in the building. It will only be turned on a taste basis when children are not there. We are hoping that this will be finished by March 31st, but that's our hope. And the vendor is committed to get this done as fast as possible. But as far as where we are now, the building has heat, the building has hot water, and everything seems to be working fine.
And,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. And just, so February starts that the $84,000 billing?
Yeah, right now, we're just concluding the first month of the rental. And from this point forward, it would be about $85,000 a month for the rental.
Thank you.
Additional question, Joe. I can't put my hand on it right now, but I saw there was a bill for $50,000 on oil delivery.
Yeah, well, the mobile boilers are, they get their energy from oil.
No, I understand that, but I assumed on the contract that would have, that contract would have included the supply for the oil, or that's a separate?
No, that's completely separate. But again, that's something that we're submitting to the insurance company. So every cost that we've incurred to provide heat to the building is being submitted to the insurance company. But the fuel oil is completely separate from the rental of the
So
equipment.
that's the first delivery. I assume there'll be another one.
Yeah, we're burning about 500 to 600 gallons a day on the really cold days, and not so much on the warmer days. And we've been lucky with the weather. I don't want to jinx it, but we've been lucky for a while.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just based upon the update, we now have 2 mobile boilers. Will that in any way affect the original estimate based upon having 3 mobile boilers?
Definitely. So what happened was the boiler, it was difficult to find the boilers that we would need to do such a large building. Initially, the contractor expected that we would need 3 boilers. We had one position in the front of the building, and one in the center of the building in the cafeteria, and one in the rear of the building. It was determined that the one that was in the center of the building was ineffective and really not necessary, and the one in the back of the building was larger and was able to cover the rest of the building. So we do expect a reduction in cost. I just don't know what that reduction is at this point.
Thank you.
Any other old business? Any new business? So I would like to bring up, I know we're recognizing SEPTA, and we have a pretty filled up schedule for recognition, but I've gotten an email from someone, a parent of someone in ROTC, and she listed out all the accomplishments that they've done over this past school year. So I would like to know if we could squeeze them in for the March recognition, if possible.
Mr. Giordano, is it the program you want to recognize or a student?
Oh, this is the entire program. And
I would just ask, it may be better to do it the following month, so this way we can give everyone advance notice. I mean, that,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
send out invitations, I'll get my secretary to send them out. Today's Tuesday, by the time they receive them, it might be Friday, and then we'll ask them to, there's no school on Monday, and they'd be here on Tuesday, so maybe we can do April?
Oh, yeah, sure. April's fine.
All right. So everybody in the ROTC program knows that you'll be expected to receive recognition at the April meeting. Thank you, Mr. Giordano.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none, we're going to adjourn the meeting, and we will not be going into executive session. So I need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Slade second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We are closed at 7:48.
Is that the new?